they're invested in doing their girl's hair because they want to be as active as possible. And that's part of the proactivity. You help your daughter out, look her best.
This is a daughter podcast where dads come to talk, think, and thrive with your hosts, Oscar and Blandon. Our mission is to cultivate a community of strong, mindful, and present fathers.
We want to curate honest conversations with all men, but especially those who have the honor of raising daughters.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Daughter Podcast. Oscar here in my daughter's room with Blandon on the other side. What's up, man?
Hey man, I'm doing all right. I've done a little traveling this week and I'm just getting back settled with the family and I'm doing okay. How about you?
Not too bad. Trying to get back out of the sea of work, having traveled for a couple of weeks. We did do the podcast convention, which was cool.
Yeah, I think podcast movement.
Yeah, that's right. So working some of those things now, as you have been carrying us through that. And I've been trying to reset and then get ready for another week of traveling. But it's the name of the game. In that process, though, we were talking about our girls and hair. Fathers doing girls' hair or getting involved with girls' hair.
Yeah.
I'm big on their hair being like not fixed up, but like not crazy, except for my 3-year-old because she's got crazy hair. It's just the way it is.
Okay.
Like,
what do you mean she has crazy hair?
She's got, so if you line up my daughters, there's like my oldest has real straight, fine hair, then the middle one has like straight and then a little bit of curl, and then the third one just got all the curl. And my wife's like, you can't brush out curls. I'm like, the hell you can't. So I start brushing out the curls, but then it makes her hair all big and, you know.
Why are you brushing out her curls though?
Because I don't know, man. It keeps it from tangling. I'm just trying to be efficient with the hair, right? So if you don't brush it, they start tangling. Eventually, you start getting dreads. Then they get into drugs, and it's just like this whole.
Oh my god! I don't think that's how that goes.
It's a domino effect, sir.
I definitely don't think that's how that goes. I know a number of people who have dreads, drugs.
I'm just kidding. Folks with dreads. It's just a bad joke.
He tells a lot of bad jokes, people. So, you know.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Thank you for that. No, you shouldn't brush out her curls. You should just leave her curls there. Anyway.
Well, you had told me the other day that you were taking your girls to get their hair done.
Yes.
Listen, this is like full ignorance, right? So I'm like, cool. Sure. That's like, an hour or so you can get back to work and do podcast stuff. You're like, no, it's going to be 6 hours. So please explain to us what that means for your little girl's hair. 6 hours, which by the way, I'm still trying to figure out how your girls even sit around for 6 hours because mine don't.
Well, and it's not the full 6 hours. They take breaks in between. But when you caught me, I was on my way to take my girls to get their hair braided. So anybody who goes and gets their hair braided understands that it is a process, right? So it even starts.
I don't.
Okay, by the way. Right. Well, you don't. I don't get my hair braided either, but my girls do.
Obviously,
okay.
Once you start getting that beard braided, we're gonna have a different conversation.
Well, I mean, if I get a little Viking braid or something.
Oh boy, here we go. All right.
Anyway, back to the girl. Back to the girl. So anyway, it starts way before then. But I think we've kind of started in the middle of a conversation. So the genesis of this conversation was I was telling you that this week, my girls at their school, they had crazy hair day. But even though they call it crazy hair day, the girls still want their hair to not look quote unquote crazy. They don't want their hair to look bad, which got me to thinking that, girls and women have a lot of attachment to their hair. Their hair means something to them. It's very meaningful. For guys and boys, it's just like, hey, either it's even all over or, some cut it and in cool designs every now and then or grow it out. But I don't think it has as much meaning as it does to girls and women. Like there's some real attachment to their hair. So anyway, that's why we wanted to dive into this topic. But yeah, when you caught me that day, I was on my way to take my girls to get their hair braided, and I'm fully a girl dad, so I'm fully invested in their hair care and helping them express themselves through their hair, right? And so they like getting their hair braided, and there's a African braiding place up the street from us, and so we take them there. They've gotten used to it. My youngest is a real trooper. She definitely sits for the whole time. They
Dang.
take breaks periodically in there, but it's a whole thing. We take their tablet, we take their
Yeah.
switch, we take snacks, we take water. So they are fully prepared to go and endeavor in a day of beauty. But it starts even before then because this is a braiding place. So we have to prep their hair the day before, night before, or even the morning of. Have to wash their hair.
Yeah.
You have to shampoo it. You have to condition it. Well, shampoo it twice, condition it. And then we have to blow dry it out and try to make it straight. So when they part the hair and they're doing the braids, that the braids will be nice and neat and the parts will be nice and neat. So it's a whole thing even before they get to the braiding salon.
Well, that was a cultural faux pas for me. I've seen braided hair before. I've seen it. And it's very intricate, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But I've never thought about the process that it takes to get to that intricacy of a hairdo. So I was just like, what do you mean 6 hours? And then you're like, it could take up to 12 hours for some people. I'm like, oh my goodness. I couldn't imagine that. Could not imagine that.
Yeah. I mean, but you braid your girl's hair, right?
I do. Well, I do. I can braid it pretty good. So weird what do you call it? I have a weird ability to braid hair through some training I had.
Okay.
So I can make a pretty mean, like, tight braid.
Yeah.
Sometimes my girls come for that, like, hey, I want my hair braided. But most of the time they don't, because I can make it pretty tight. And then it's hard for me to, I don't know, maneuver through not being so tight or whatever. I'm just trying to, like, make it perfect, But what's funny is I find myself, ever since I had my daughters and I started to, brush their hair and braid their hair, or even the ponytail thing, like that was a whole thing. And sometimes it's so funny. Sometimes I'll do a ponytail and they'll be like, oh, thanks, daddy. And then they'll walk over and be like, mommy, can you fix this real quick? Like, they'll do that all the time to me because I just don't get it all like she does.
Yeah.
But I find myself, like, I'll see some little girl with, like, an intricate hair or a braid of like blonde hair, brown hair, doesn't matter. Like, I see them, like, that looks really, how did you do that? And so I find myself trying to figure out how to do those things to see if I can try it. And then my girls are like, nah, we're good. You can practice on my dolls. Like, I'm not doing that. So I don't practice on the dolls because then that's just kind of weird for me to sit there and practice on dolls.
I mean, that's how hairstylists do it, though. They practice on a mannequin head before they go to a real head. So not very weird, not very far off from you try to be a professional stylist.
I mean, grown man playing with doll hair is just a little weird, So
I mean, but you're not.
I'm not
like
judging you though. You can go do that. It's cool.
No. I didn't need to do that. I didn't need to do that. But I'm just saying that you're not doing it for some kind of creepy, weird reason. You are trying to prep yourself to help your girls. But I mean, I could make fun of you for it. I mean, if you wanted me to.
Bring it. So yeah, I find myself looking at hair, like, or women's hair. Like, I'll look, and some women have some pretty cool, like, braid or hair thing. Like, I finally learned how to do the inside out ponytail.
Inside out ponytail.
Yeah, so like you do a ponytail and then you flip it in itself. I'm not going to explain it here because I'm not going to do that very well. But that was a game changer because the ponytail doesn't come out. It's like stuck within itself. And that's great.
Okay.
So again, it's my job now, right? I'm a girl dad, so I'm like, now I want to get good at it. So I find myself looking and sometimes asking, like, how did you do that? And some people are like, that's weird. And then I have to explain, well, I have 3 daughters and I'd like to do the same thing. And then they open up and start talking. But it is kind of weird when some stranger at the airport's like, can you tell me how you did that to your daughter's hair? And they're like, what? I'm like, oh, this is why.
Yeah.
So once I explain myself, I probably should start with that, right? But
right, you can have a better icebreaker though than how'd you do that to your daughter's hair.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get right to the point, you know.
I got you, but you know, some people need a little sugar before, you know, a little easing.
I don't have any sugar, sir.
Trust me. After 17 years, I understand you have like
No
little to none, none.
That's right.
But I did want to get into is that I have not always been so keenly adapt to doing their hair. So when I was first daughtered and my oldest was getting older, you know, I still didn't want to hold all of the weight of doing hair on my wife, even though she did do it. She, you know, for the early years when my daughter was growing up, she did do her hair for the most part. And then one day I was just doing some research and I ran across this like YouTube video on how to help and do little girl's hair or whatever. And so then I was like, I'm gonna try this one night. I'm gonna get all the things. I'm gonna do all the research, and I'm gonna try this. And at first, I thought this is overwhelming because I don't want to, you know, mess up her hair. And I don't want it to hurt her, and I don't want to be pulling. Yeah, all of that. So I can get how some dads would be overwhelmed by the thought of doing hair, especially if they have either little to no hair or no experience with it. Because I didn't have any experience with it. So anyway, I went and I did it the first time. I did some 2-strand twists on my oldest, and they came out great. I did some finger coils in her hair with some product that I use. A lot of different products. What I really like is this Miel product. I really love Miel for both of my girls' hair. They have kinds of different types of hair. So, but Miel kind of covers the range of that. I use that a lot. Anyway, so that's a tip for dads who have daughters. Miel is the ticket.
Miel is not a sponsor, but we'll gladly take that too.
We're always taking sponsorship. So if they want to give it, we'll take it. But anyway, yeah. So then I started getting a lot better, a lot more comfortable with it. It started taking less time to do her hair, to prep it, to get all the things. And then I finally knew I arrived when a mom looked at her hair and was like, oh, your hair's so pretty. Did your mommy do that? And then she was like, no, my daddy did it. And I was like, yes, I know I have arrived at the king of the castle here. You know,
that's nice.
Almost the penultimate moment of girl dad when you can get a compliment like the mom did the hair. Nope, daddy did my hair. So
right. I've gotten that a couple times with the braids because they're nice and tight.
Yeah.
That was a while ago. I don't really get that much because my wife is a cosmetologist, a hairstylist.
Yeah.
So the girls know that. So they're like, thanks, daddy, but I'm going to go to mom. Like she knows what she's doing.
Yeah.
So I let her take care of that as much as the girls want.
Yeah.
But every so often, as you know, a few weeks ago, my wife was not here. I'm the hair dude.
Yeah.
And I think my daughters are just so graceful that they're just like, okay, fine. I'll just say I like it and move on, you know, but I do okay enough to get them through the day, I guess.
Yeah. So we've kind of been talking about hair do's, but what are some hair don'ts? So like if your daughters came to you now, what wouldn't you want them to do or allow for them to do with their hair?
Dude, that question I would divert right to my wife. I'm like, hey, what do we not want him to do? I mean, she's a hairstylist, right? So luckily she doesn't use too much product in the girl's hair, which is good. You know, doesn't damage too much, but she knows all the shampoos and conditioners. And I don't know. I mean, I always joke around with the girls.
If they wanted to like shave one side of their hair and then have the other long, are we doing that?
I mean,
at the Pena house?
That's their hair, right? I mean,
okay. You're okay with it?
I don't know that we're okay with it at the moment. I mean,
that's what I'm saying.
My 8-year-old came and we're like, we'll talk about that in 4 years, right? I'm not really gonna.
Right. So then there's some age appropriateness to the hairstyles that you want them to have.
Yeah, I think so. Right. I mean, you mentioned, hair is a thing for our girls. Where like if I get a bad haircut, I'll just go shave my head, like whatever, the
Yeah.
hair grow back. Um, for them, it's not really like that. So yeah, I guess just giving them, you know, the guidance, I guess, to now again, I always go over to my wife and I'm like, I don't want this. Am I tripping? Like I don't want this to happen or this to happen,
Yeah.
whether there's hair or anything, and she'll give me kind of a check, or an agreement. Like, all right, cool, we're on the same page, because I'm a dude and sometimes it doesn't compute, right?
Right. Right.
Like I said, if there's my daughter one time had a bad haircut and she was all upset about it, I'm like, stop. It's gonna grow. Give it 2 weeks and it's gone. And it didn't actually because it took a lot longer. But
Absolutely.
for me, literally 2 weeks, and whatever bad haircut I had is gone.
Well, I mean, you
So
have a perpetual 5 o'clock shadow, so that already tells me about the hair situation.
yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
one day when you grow up, you'll be able to have this. But I'm just saying that a lot of that is I will give my thoughts. What I've learned is to give my thoughts to my wife first before I go via far direct to my daughters, particularly my oldest, because now she's at the age where what I say is taken kind of to heart. I mean, as fathers, as you know, like how we relay information to our daughters is taken to heart, right? But as they get older, like my 12-year-old, she might take offense to something or kind of get her feelings hurt by something when I literally just meant something superficial.
Yeah.
And so I've learned to go to my wife and like, her hair is looking a little crazy. Like, should we adjust that? And then she'll either give me some guidance or she'll just go take care of it herself, with the girls, and then talk to them about it. It's weird because it comes off different from my wife than it comes from me. Because for me, it's instantly like I'm critiquing the hair as opposed to giving my opinion. Does that make any sense?
It makes sense. You still haven't answered my question, though.
Which one?
What are the hair don'ts that you have? Like, I know you have opinions about, like, can they dye their hair? Can like they dye their hair blonde if they wanted
I
to?
understand your question now. No, they're not. They're not allowed to dye their hair.
Okay.
Just
Can they?
but for me, it's utility and age. Probably, it's like, no. Why? Why do you want to dye your hair?
Well, my friend over here, her parents let her dye her hair. Can I dye my hair?
No.
Okay.
No.
When
Your
can I,
friend can go
when
kick
can I
rock
dye my hair? When can I dye my hair?
I don't know. It's a good question. I think my oldest has asked that question, and I can't remember the age we gave her, but I think for me it was 18. Once you can pay for your own hair dye, then we'll talk.
Okay.
Right. I mean, listen.
I think I'm probably more liberal on the hair situation because I think, like, if my daughter came to me at like 14, 15 and said, hey, I want to dye my hair or like put a rinse in my hair or do something like that, I'd be like, okay, it's your hair. Now make sure that's make sure you're going to stick with that for a while because obviously some of those things are permanent or semi-permanent or whatever you had. It's not going to come out. It's not like you're putting Kool-Aid in your hair and then you just do it for the color or kind of like that spray that they put in their hair. Like, you really need to think about this. But I think I'm probably a little bit liberal about it because my mom was a hairstylist like your wife. She was a hairstylist for like 25 years. And so I've seen her from having long hair to short hair. She colored her hair. She changed it quite often. So for me, I take the approach that hair is hair, but it also is a form of self-expression. And sometimes your hair changes with your mood. Yeah. And that's okay. For me, in my eyes, that is okay. And I think when girls get to a certain stage, there's a lot of importance in their hair and a lot of kind of individualization that they need to express through their hair.
Yeah.
And, I'm just a little bit more liberal. Now my wife super conservative with hair. I mean, she's a woman, so for her, hair was tied to a lot of things and a lot of like age appropriate. Like this is showing, oh, this girl is way too mature, for this hairstyle. This is aging her. This is putting her as a grown woman, not as a young lady or a little girl or whatever. So yeah, I'm probably a little bit more liberal on the hair don'ts.
It's interesting how societal norms can change that, right? So we were kind of talking like, you watch a movie, if a girl is like chopping off her hair, there's something drastic going on in her life.
Right.
And so probably would be a good time to ask questions like, hey, what's going on? Let's talk a little bit.
Yeah.
And then maybe discuss the semi-permanence of cutting off their hair or whatever.
Yeah.
But both of my daughters have at a couple stages of their life just said like, hey, can I get my hair short? And my wife's like, okay.
Yeah.
And then she cuts it.
Yeah.
But it hasn't been like crazy short or there's no buzz cuts or whatever. And again, there's questions to be asked if your daughter comes over and is like, I want to buzz my hair. Like,
right.
Okay, let's open that up for conversation, right? Like, what does that actually look like?
For sure.
Because again, there is a lot more tied, or at least from Oscar's perception, there's a lot more tied to girls' hair than there is to boys' hair, right?
Same. Yeah.
I mean, and then at the same time, I look around and I see some boys' hair. I'm like, nowadays, I'm like, I don't. Okay, whatever. Just saying, right? So maybe there is more tied to boys' hair now than there was, at least for me, that there isn't. Like it's just hair. And what's interesting too is for me is I'm institutionalized, so like I just need to stay within regs to get in uniform. Yeah, and I've been doing that for 17 years, so it's just what I do. Right? I can't grow out my hair and whatever. So maybe that's part of it, just being institutionalized. But with my daughters, even in crazy hair days, we've had those at school, they still wanted to look good.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
But it's crazy hair day. Just put some glue on it and make it look like Beetlejuice, and you're good to go.
No,
but it's not happening. And they also go to my wife for that because they want a cool, crazy hair they do from the hairstylist.
Right.
When I'm like, I can make your hair look crazy. Like, let's do this. And they're just not having it.
No, they still want it to look pretty. And that's what I'm saying. They still want it to look together. So it's even more like opulent, so to speak. My girls, anyway, they want it to still look nice, but just like overly nice, overly done. So it's not crazy necessarily. It's just way overdone, so to speak. And so, yeah.
Well, how are you guys dealing with doing your daughter's hair or getting involved with your daughter's hair instances? Send your information over at conversations@daughterpodcast.com and go find us on the web, www.daughterpodcast.com. You can find all of our stuff there. In the meantime, Blandon, do you have a book back there that I'm looking at?
Yeah, I definitely do. And so this is a good book for like hair affirmation, right? Happy hair. We know that people have different kinds of hair, textures of hair, colors of hair, lengths of hair. And so this is just one of those feel-good books for your girls that encourages them that their hair is beautiful no matter what state. And the author of this book is Mikhail Rowe. And she has a couple of other books, but this specific book deals with encouraging your daughters in expressing themselves through their hair, and then also encouraging them with it, telling them their hair is beautiful no matter what it looks like. Because as girls, there's a lot of self-confidence and awareness that is involved in their hair.
Awesome. Also, guys, we have the Daughter Network on Mighty Networks. Go find us there. You can find a link to that on our notes. Come join the community. We're building a strong community of mindful present fathers, learning from each other to try to be better for our daughters. So go find that on the Daughter Network. with that, we will have to see you on the next one. Oscar here, Blandon on the other side. See you later.